Everything in life begins with respect, but the most important form of it is self-respect. How you treat yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. If you trample on your own worth, others will follow your example. If you constantly try to please everyone, one day you will completely lose yourself. And if you don't respect yourself, expecting anyone else to respect you is simply a fantasy. As the Stoic philosophers said, whatever you accept becomes a part of your life. Although this idea sounds simple, it can completely change the direction of your life. The way people treat you often reflects how you treat yourself. A person who doesn't know their boundaries allows others to shape them however they like, but someone with self-respect knows exactly who to get close to, who to keep distance from, and which words are worth responding to, and which are best ignored. Today, we'll explore 9 behaviors that a self-respecting person never tolerates through the lens of Stoic philosophy. These aren't just behaviors, they are principles that make you feel valuable, strong and calm. Let's see together when a person with self-respect stays silent, and when they quietly walk away. My only request before you start watching is subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Sometimes, a single idea can illuminate an entire life. Now let's begin. I want to start with the first behavior you should never tolerate: remaining silent in the face of those who try to belittle you. Often what hurts the most isn't what is openly said. The deepest wounds are often opened by indifferent stares, cold silences, and mocking smiles. It's like someone slowly sprinkling dust over your soul, until one day you realize it's suffocating you. This is the most hidden form of belittlement. A self-respecting person remains calm in such moments. But this silence isn't born of fear. They don't argue or try to justify themselves, because they have long understood that explaining yourself to someone who wants to diminish you is not maintaining your level. It's wasting your energy. They simply step away, quietly but decisively. Their silence is the strongest way of saying, "You cannot hurt me." For Stoics, silence was a sign of self-control, not weakness. Epictetus said, "The person who insults you is actually venting their own pain through you." A self-respecting person understands this truth. They know that every mockery or degrading word reflects the other person's inner deficiencies. Responding to it would be like swallowing poison. True strength is hidden in silence, but not passive silence. It's the kind of silence that says, "I hear you, but I will not speak on your level," because they know sometimes walking away is the highest form of response. It's responding to disrespect with dignity, not with anger. Remember, arguing with someone who wants to belittle you, trying to prove your worth, is pointless. Worth is not proven with words. It is felt and lived. A self-respecting person knows this. Leaving silently sends a stronger message than staying to argue. The second behavior you should never tolerate is allowing others to control your emotions. Some people know your weak spots very well. Instead of directly hurting you, they try to take control by manipulating your emotions. Sometimes they make you feel guilty. "I've done so much for you." Sometimes they play on your fear. "If you lose me, you'll be alone." Sometimes they make you feel indebted, attempting to dominate you. It's a silent, destructive game, and the result is exhaustion. Once you hand over control of your emotions, you also hand over your freedom. A self-respecting person recognizes this game immediately. They understand that someone who can control their emotions can control their life. They remain calm, but this calmness is not submission. They smile while setting boundaries because they know A calm person is uncontrollable. No one can provoke them, deceive them, or throw them off their rhythm. For Stoics, this represented the purest form of freedom. We cannot control others' behavior, but we can always control our own reactions. Epictetus said, "Pay attention to who makes you angry, for they are the one holding power over you." A self-respecting person never forgets this truth. They know that every time someone's behavior creates a storm inside, if you lose your composure, you've already begun losing yourself. Losing your composure is one of the heaviest losses. That's why such people protect their emotions and use their inner stability as a shield. They choose to be silent observers rather than play a part in emotional games, because they understand that a person who cannot control you is afraid of your freedom. Remaining calm in these situations is not submission. It's protecting your own liberty. And Stoic philosophy teaches us this. True power lies not in controlling others, but in controlling yourself. The third behavior you should never tolerate is being friends with those who live under the veil of lies. A lie may seem harmless at first. Sometimes it starts with hiding a word, softening a truth, or masking a feeling. But then you find yourself in a labyrinth where you can trust neither anyone nor yourself. A lie is like a fine dust over the soul, invisible at first, but gradually suffocating everything. The worst part is when lies come from those you love the most. It is not just a disappointment, it is the death of trust. Once trust is broken, no apology or "I didn't mean it" can restore it. Truth can be like a sword, sharp, painful, and harsh. But a lie is like invisible poison. It slowly kills you, without you even realizing it. A self-respecting person does not accept this poison. They know that staying where someone deceives you is not forgiveness. It's cheapening your own worth. Such a person will not sit comfortably within lies, because what they feel is not peace but falseness. They will not sacrifice their inner calm for a moment of quiet. They understand truth may leave you alone sometimes, but lies silently drain you from within. For Stoic philosophers, honesty was the cornerstone of a person's character. Epictetus said, "A liar does not only deceive others, they commit a crime against their own soul." According to Stoics, lies disrupt the mind's peace, because one lie requires a second, then a third, then a fourth, and one day you lose your own voice, because you can no longer distinguish which thoughts are yours and which are defensive mechanisms. A self-respecting person never falls to that level. They demand transparency in relationships, because transparency creates trust, and trust preserves respect. For them, honesty is not just a moral rule, it is a weapon that protects the purity of the soul. They would rather live with a million solitary truths than dwell in a single lie. A person who lives by lies always exists between two worlds, the visible and the hidden, but the pressure of both worlds crushes them. A self-respecting person does not carry this burden. They make a firm choice. By deceiving me, you lost yourself. By not forgiving you, I preserved myself. Stoic philosophy teaches us that tolerating lies is allowing the soul to silently rot. Thus, being friends with those who live under the veil of lies will exhaust you, diminish your worth, and kill your trust. And remember, truth may leave you alone sometimes, but within that solitude, there is peace. Lies, however, can leave you lonely even among crowds, because there is no sincerity there. A self-respecting person knows where there are lies, there is neither friendship nor love nor respect. They prefer to live even a little within truth than to drown in a sea of falsehood. The fourth behavior you should never tolerate is being in relationships with people who make you doubt yourself. Sometimes people do not harm you openly, but their words and actions eat away at you from the inside. If someone constantly asks, "Who do you think you are?" or "Can you even handle this?" these are not mere questions, but manipulative tactics aimed at devaluing you. As you try to defend yourself, you grow weary. Seeds of doubt surround you, and most importantly, your inner peace is at risk. These people know your weak spots very well. They constantly test you with words, force you to question your worth, and try to assert their power over your vulnerabilities. At first, it may seem like a small game, but over time, you lose confidence, pride, and inner stability. A self-respecting person refuses to play the leading role in such scenarios. They do not allow anyone to define their worth because they know value lies not in others' opinions, but in themselves. Their inner core is strong. No seed of doubt can take root there. Instead of engaging in someone else's game, they quietly set boundaries and move forward with inner harmony. As the Stoics said, your value is not in others' eyes, but in your actions. These are not mere words, but profound truths of life. Others' doubts, mocking laughter, or insults reveal only their weaknesses, not yours. A self-respecting person understands this deeply and calmly, yet decisively enforces their boundaries. They know that letting someone constantly make you doubt yourself is giving them your inner strength and confidence. Measuring your worth by someone else's approval enslaves your soul. A self-respecting person does not participate in such games. They remain calm, set boundaries, carry their inner value, and proceed without needing anyone's validation. Even constant derogatory or doubting words from the closest people cannot deter them. They know that self-confidence and worth lie not in others' words, but in their actions and inner stability. They protect their inner strength, preserve their pride, and refuse to fall into others' manipulations. Remember, sharing the leading role with those who try to make you doubt yourself is giving them your inner power. A self-respecting person never falls for this trap. They find value within themselves, preserve their inner stability, and offer it to no one. For them, silence is not submission. It is determination and an expression of inner freedom. The fifth behavior you should never tolerate is remaining silent when someone tramples on your boundaries. Every person has certain boundaries in life, physical, emotional, and moral. These boundaries are invisible walls that protect our identity, worth, and inner peace. If someone refuses to hear your no, it means they do not wish to listen to you at all. They aim to manipulate you and steer you according to their will. They disregard your comfort and your values, trying to impose their own desires over you. A self-respecting person does not remain silent in such moments. They protect their boundaries. They are not afraid to say no, because they know it is not arrogance or rudeness, but simply a form of self-care. For them, saying no is not a choice. It is a way to preserve their inner worth, because when boundaries are not respected, respect is lost. If you do not honor your own limits, expecting respect from others is merely a fantasy. According to Stoic philosophy, saying no is not just a word, it is a demonstration of protecting your values and inner strength. Epictetus said, "Protecting your boundaries is your right, and against those who trample them, you must show resolve, not remain silent." A self-respecting person knows this well. They do not sacrifice their principles or inner peace to fulfill someone else's desires. Remaining calm does not mean yielding to others. It means protecting yourself, because a person who loses their boundaries loses not only respect but also themselves. That is why learning to say no when necessary is a fundamental rule of self-respect. Every no reminds you of your worth, strengthens your inner power, and reduces others' influence over you. For a self-respecting person, boundaries are not just for defense. They are a way to protect oneself, maintain value, and defend inner freedom. The sixth behavior you should never tolerate is returning to relationships that bring emotional storms. What does this mean? Sometimes people enter our lives and for a moment they brighten our world, shower us with love and attention, but the next moment, the same person showers us with indifference, anger, or manipulation. Such relationships create emotional storms. One day the sun shines, the next you face a hurricane. You feel happy, valuable, and strong, and suddenly everything changes, as if nothing is under your control. This period tests your inner strength and drains your energy. A self-respecting person understands this deeply and sets firm boundaries during such periods. They know that love is not chaos, not drama, but peace and stability. Love is not measured by the rise and fall of emotions, and it should nurture your spirit and strengthen inner stability. If a relationship constantly makes you anxious and undervalued, it is no longer love. It is a storm collecting poison inside you. According to Stoic philosophy, inner calm is priceless. Stability is a value in life. It protects you from internal storms, preserves your strength and confidence. A self-respecting person does not return to drama-filled relationships and does not lose their inner peace or strength. They choose calm, mutual respect, and understanding. True love is measured not by trying to change someone, but by recognizing and honoring each other's worth. Inner calm, stability, and deep understanding are visible only to those open to silence. They understand that repeated emotional storms exhaust a person, drain their energy, and strip away confidence and self-worth. Walking away from such relationships is not just physical distance, it is protecting your soul and inner balance. For a self-respecting person, a relationship means balance and mutual support. They do not return to cycles of rising and falling because they know preserving their worth and inner calm is more important than anything. They seek love, not drama, stability, not storms. True love lifts you but never drops you. It nurtures you but never leaves emptiness inside. The Stoics said, "True calm comes with silent love and deep understanding. Storms and drama never bring real value." A self-respecting person understands this deeply. They always protect their inner peace. Do not get caught in emotional storms, and stay away from anything that disrupts their balance, because it is important to remember, returning to a stormy relationship sacrifices your soul, energy, and confidence. A self-respecting person does not take this path. They prioritize calm, stability, and inner value. The seventh behavior you should never tolerate is those who try to control you under the guise of criticism. Sometimes people use criticism as a weapon to control you. They appear as if helping you, but their real goal is to break your spirit, assert superiority, and dominate you. Such people attack your weaknesses with every word, pretending each critique is a lesson, but with a hidden intent to belittle you. They aim to shake your confidence and steal your pride, often subtly but poisonously. A self-respecting person recognizes these games quickly. They understand that true criticism is the kind that develops the spirit, opens perspective, and reveals inner potential. Insults and manipulations, however, are actions meant to make you feel worthless and assert someone's ego. Distinguishing this is one of the first steps of self-respect. The Stoics said, "If words burn your soul, they are not wisdom, they are ego." These words carry deep meaning. If others' words burn you internally, their goal is not your growth, but to control you. A self-respecting person is open to correction, but against insults. demeaning actions and manipulation. They maintain boundaries. They know that every word has power, and when someone's ego tries to control you, your calmness and resolve are your greatest weapons. Sometimes criticism is presented subtly, indifferent smiles, mocking tones, or phrases like, "You should do it this way." This can be even more harmful because at first, you may perceive it as normal criticism. A self-respecting person carefully analyzes, is this an opportunity to learn or an attempt at manipulation? They draw the necessary boundaries. For Stoics, the power and intention of words mattered. Epictetus said, "If a word is not meant to change you for the better, you are not obliged to accept it." Protecting your soul is your right. A self-respecting person understands that when another's ego tries to control them, silence and determination are the strongest response. They do not tolerate insults, but they do not get caught in noise. They do not mix others' actions with their self-worth. They choose what to accept and what to reject. Accepting ego-driven criticism weakens the soul, but setting boundaries protects your freedom and inner strength. For a self-respecting person, criticism is an opportunity to learn and grow, whereas insults are attacks that require boundaries. They are never enslaved by others' words, do not lose inner calm, and always choose the path of self-protection and preserving pride. According to Stoic philosophy, this choice safeguards inner strength, preserves the soul, and leads to true freedom. The eighth behavior you should never tolerate is mistaking one-sided sacrifice for love. Love is beautiful, but if it comes only from one side, it is no longer love. It is losing yourself. Sometimes you give everything, you understand, forgive, listen, and make every effort to ease the other person's life. But if the other person does not reciprocate, every action drains you more and diminishes your inner value. A self-respecting person understands this deeply. They know that relationships must be mutual. Love is not just about giving. It also involves receiving mutual respect and support. If you are always the one who understands, remains silent and forgives, while the other side never makes sacrifices for you, this becomes a situation of imbalance and worthlessness. According to Stoic philosophy, balance in relationships is essential for the health of the soul. Epictetus said, "If one side constantly gives and the other constantly takes, the relationship is doomed to exhaustion." A self-respecting person shows resolve at this point. They do not give selflessly just to diminish themselves. They give only when there is mutual love and understanding. When love is one-sided, one person is always crushed, exhausted, and begins to forget their own value. One-sided sacrifice may seem like silently giving of oneself, but in reality, it is disrespecting your own worth. A self-respecting person refuses to accept such a situation. They understand that a relationship is measured not by one person's sacrifice, but by mutual growth and development. They seek loving but balanced relationships, because only mutual respect and understanding nourish the soul, strengthen inner peace, and create lasting bonds. If you continue to give one-sidedly, you lose both your spirit and your inner calm. According to Stoic philosophy, respect and value are reinforced only through reciprocity. You cannot change others, but you can choose to protect yourself. A self-respecting person is aware of this and acts according to this principle. Give, but without losing yourself, and be open to receiving. Thus, mistaking one-sided sacrifice for love is actually losing yourself. A self-respecting person maintains balance, loves themselves, and ensures relationships are reciprocal. The ninth behavior you should never tolerate is compromising with those who try to sway you from your principles. Sometimes people try to break and control you by influencing your values and principles. They say, do this or that. It will be easier this way. At first, it may seem simple, but the real goal is to steer you away from your internal compass. If you give up your principles and yield to others' desires, you lose the foundation of your inner stability and identity. A self-respecting person understands this deeply. They know that principles are their internal compass. Principles guide, direct decisions, and give meaningful direction to life. A person who loses their principles is like a ship without a rudder, drifting with the waves. The Stoics were clear on this. Epictetus said, "He who loses his values loses his direction." For a self-respecting person, principles are not just words. They are the foundation of actions and choices. Yielding to pressure or compromising for convenience is selling yourself and your inner worth. They know that protecting their principles is of utmost importance, as principles are the foundation of life, the source of inner strength and the base of pride. Facing such people, remaining calm, protecting boundaries, and staying true to principles is the greatest expression of inner strength and determination. A self-respecting person never yields to others' influence. Instead, they preserve their path and values. Remember, to others, agreeing or compromising may seem like a silent sacrifice, but in reality, abandoning your principles is losing yourself and your inner freedom. A self-respecting person does not fall into this trap. They set boundaries, protect their internal compass, and remain faithful to their values, principles, and inner peace. According to Stoic philosophy, the meaning and value of life are preserved only by remaining true to your principles. Therefore, it is not compromise, but protecting your calm and pride. That is the correct course when faced with those who try to sway you from your principles. True freedom is being guided not by others' desires, but by your values and inner resolve. In life, respect is not just something we expect from others. It is a right we give ourselves. A self-respecting person does not become a slave to others' behavior, does not fall into the games of those who try to manipulate emotions, and never compromises their principles. They protect their boundaries, do not fall into one-sided sacrifice, do not return to stormy relationships, and do not make room for those hiding behind a veil of lies. As the Stoics said, the one who protects their values is both free and strong. Recognizing and avoiding these 9 behaviors will make you stronger, calmer, and more valuable. Knowing and protecting your worth brings respect, stability, and peace in every area of life, at work, in relationships, and among friends. If you found this video valuable, subscribe to our channel, like the video, and share it so that others can also discover their inner strength and boundaries. And remember to turn on notifications so you never miss our videos. Finally, I want to leave you with this. Value your principles and never compromise them for anyone. See you in the next video.